Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And I started experimenting this morning, and I decided I think I better capture it. So if something blows up, I can go back and watch the video and see what mistake I made. And what I'm attempting to do is use an Android tablet to control an SDR. Here's the SDR right here. This is the RTL-SDR.com. I have found this to be a great SDR, and it's only $24.95, and it works great on HF and VHF. So I'm going to use that this morning. Right now, I have it hooked up to my G5RV HF antenna. So I'm going to try some HF scanning. And I just briefly showed in a previous show this application for Android called SDR Touch. Now there's two versions. Well, there's one version and there's a key to unlock some of the other options, one of which I think is really necessary. And when I introduced it before, I got the demo version, and it requires a key for certain functions. And I'll briefly mention that. I won't use it because I did graciously get a key from Martin, who wrote this program, and I'm going to go in more detail in another show, but I just want to experiment this morning, and I'm learning how to use the SDR Touch, and I'm experimenting. So let's call it at that as far as the SDR Touch program. So I'm not demoing it because I'm not that familiar with it. So we're learning today how to use that program and get this configuration set up. Now what I had to do is I got this set of adapters, USB adapters, because most, not all, most tablets use the see if I can find one that I don't have. Okay, here's one right here. They use this little, I call it a micro USB, and that's what's on the port on the side. Now I have, but it doesn't work anymore, I have a tablet that I bought many years ago that had a full-size USB port, and it would have been ideal for this. This one has the micro, so I had to get an adapter from micro to full USB, which is right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Then I got to remember to zoom back out because I want to show you some other things. I've gotten this set up. So there it is right here. There's the adapter. And then this is a cable to a USB port tester, which will give you, this one will give you a display. And I got this kind of hanging on there, not too good. Let me zoom them. Well, it's going to be upside down, but it gives you, like, I apologize because it is upside down. It gives you voltage and current, and right now the current is 0 because there's nothing connected, and the voltage is 5.04, which is good, and it has two USB ports that you can connect to, and then it gives you a measurement of how much current that device is using. So I'm going to temporarily use that setup to see how much current that particular dongle is drawing, because one person mentioned that when I was just toying with doing this before in a previous video, and I was having problems. Number one, I was using a different tablet. I was using a knockoff Japanese tablet, which is not very powerful, and so that might have been part of my problems. But somebody suggested that part of my problem might have been I wasn't supplying enough power to the dongle via this port. Typically you don't put out a lot of power. The other thing is, because I'm going to have the dongle right next to the tablet, that could create noise into the tablet, or into the dongle for that matter, from the tablet. And it does create kind of a load here as far as weight on that connector, which I don't like, which I would not use that kind of setup if I was in the field where things are flopping around. I tried, and I'm learning here, I'm no expert, I tried using a charging cable to extend that. So I plugged this end, this is, like I say, normally a charging cable. I plugged that into this, and then I plugged this via an adapter to, or I plugged a dongle in this. It didn't get any power. So I'm thinking that these cables that are used to charge, and sometimes they're used for data, at least this one right here, it's something is incompatible, or maybe it was the adapter. Something's incompatible, and I wasn't getting any power to the USB dongle. So that didn't work, and that's another experiment to find out why it didn't work, because I don't want to have this plugged in like I've got it right now with that adapter and the SDR hanging on the side there. It's not a good situation. So I need to find some way of extending that away. I thought this was going to do for me. Anyway, the other thing I did a few minutes ago is I have another USB tester, which I really like this one. It gives you a lot of data. It gives you a voltage, it gives you current, it calculates the power, and then something else, I don't know what else. And it has this nice cable with the adapters. So here's the adapter that would plug into here, and then you would plug your SDR in this end with another adapter, because again, this is not the right gender. I tried using this one, and the program was a little intermittent, or something was going wrong, and the voltage was dropping down quite a bit. It was about 4.8, I think, because this guy, of course, is using some of the is a load to that output port. So I tried this other one, which is a simpler design, and it doesn't seem to provide as high a load. Okay, so let's try this. I'm going to now, this is reading 5.04 volts. I'm going to plug in the dongle, the SDR dongle. Okay, the voltage, I'll have to tell you, because like I say, this is upside down. The voltage dropped down to 4.82, similar to what it did on that other tester, and it's drawing 0.19 amps, or 190 milliamps. So that's how much power this dongle is, how much current this dongle is drawing right now in this setup. So it's 4.8 should be enough, but I don't know what these dongles really need. Do they need the full 5 volts? I don't know. So I'm going to start now this SDR Touch, which Martin sent me, and I'm going to turn on the oops, it didn't see it. Now for some reason it didn't see, again I'm experimenting here, for some reason it did not see the dongle. Now the way it should have worked is there is a driver, here it is right here, RTL-SDR driver that he also wrote, which is supposed to communicate with the dongle. That didn't work for some reason. And when I say doesn't work, normally since that's running in background, when you plug in the dongle, it recognizes it, and one of the options you can set up in the program is when the driver sees the dongle, it starts the SDR Touch program. It didn't do that, so something is wrong here. So let me try using, I used output number 2. So I think before I used output number 1. So we try that. Maybe that's the difference. Again, I'm experimenting. Okay, that time it saw it. So apparently that output 2 is some reason not compatible. Now let me turn the volume down. Over here. That's up. That's down. Okay, so everything's working now. The dongle's working, the program's working, and it's getting 4.93 volts now, according to my little tester here, if I can get it in the view. And it's drawing 0.18 amps. And it's working. And I had it previously tuned to WWV on 5 megahertz, but it seems to be offset a little bit. So that could be the dongle itself. Now I've widened this out. You can just two-finger pinch this, and you can widen it. See how easy that is to use? That is cool. Now there's a real strong station right here. Let me get this back centered. Wrong way, you dummy. Okay, move. Okay, now what the heck? Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, that was going the wrong way. Let me go to, here we go. Do I dare zoom in? Okay, I understand that there's a graininess on using this particular camera. Sorry for that. So you just have to kind of bear with it, because the actual display on the tablet is crystal clear. It's just the camera is not doing a very good job. So the limitation, at least one of the limitations you get, or you have to live with in the free version, is when you use this spectrum display, it's only good, I think, for 60 seconds. And trying to get things set up and working for the first time, that's a bit of a nuisance. So I wrote Martin, and I says, can you give me a key so that I can test this on my YouTube channel? And he was very gracious about it, responded very quickly and said, sure, I'll be glad to give you a key, since you're going to do that for me. So now we can fully test it. The program cost $9.99 or $9.95 or something like that, which to me was a little too much to invest on something I'm not sure would even work on my setup. So that's what I'm going to do in another show. So I'm going to show you this program. I'm going to concentrate on this program and show you whether it's worth the $9.95 to invest and whether it will work on your dongle. I'll try it on a couple of different dongles. This is what I consider my best, least expensive dongle. It's $24.95. Now, it's much, much better than these $10 dongles, because it was designed to do what we're doing here. It was designed to be a wideband receiver, not a TV. Ooh, what was that went through there? That was kind of cool. So I got it working, and I'm looking over at my time. I'm going to try to limit this show to about 20 minutes. Otherwise, it just gets boring. So what I have set up now, and I'll go over it very quickly, is I have to use let me zoom out a second here. For this tablet and most tablets, you have to use, to get to a full size USB, which is what these dongles want, because they're normally used with a laptop or a computer. No, a laptop is a computer. A laptop or a desktop. You have to have an adapter. And like I say, I bought these, I think got 10 adapters for $7 or something like that. So that's working fine, although it does put a lot of stress on that connector. Then for experimenting, I'm using, let me zoom out a little bit more. I'm using this USB tester just to see if I'm marginal on the voltage to the SDR, so the SDR is going to act up. Doesn't appear that it's marginal. Right now I've got 4.93 volts. That should be plenty. It's drawing 0.18 amps, so looking good. I originally tried this on that other tablet I got because I was afraid that hanging this dongle on here would be too much of a load and might damage the output. So apparently it's not damaged, and it's working quite well. So what I can do now is I can take the tester out because it's using some of the voltage / current, and therefore get a little more voltage to the dongle, although I don't think I need it. Although it does give me a little bit of lead to get the dongle away from the tablet, and I'm going to push it away even more. Now I've done something. I've been jostling this, so I've done something with this setup. It's still getting the voltage, but for some reason it's not updating. Now let's see if I can power it off with this button and power it back on. Whoops. Power it back on, and it says your Android device does not provide enough power to the dongle. How about that? You must use an external powered USB hub or external power. Okay, so the program says I'm not giving enough power to the dongle. I think I am. Woo! All of a sudden the dongle current went up to 330 milliamps. And that was when I was kind of moving things around. Okay, so let's just unplug the dongle temporarily, and the voltage has dropped down to 4.84. Again, I'm just experimenting here. Okay, now the voltage that I took the dongle loose is 5.05. I'll plug the dongle back in. Now back up to 4.95, and I'm drawing 140 milliamps. Let me see if I can turn it back on again. There, now it's back on. So I got something. I don't know why that the current draw on the dongle went up. It's almost like the dongle got in when I was moving it, because that's when it happened. It's almost like the dongle got in a mode where it was drawing more power. Maybe it was sampling faster because it got a bad data command through the port when the port was jiggled. So as you can see right now, my setup is a little flaky, kind of like me, but it is working, and I won't touch it now. I'm getting a lot more noise now than I had before, if I recall. So, yeah, moving those things around could have. Well, it definitely changed something, because initially it was drawing too much current, and now I've got a lot more noise than I had before. Now, maybe it's because my antenna connection wasn't that good. I'm going to try to be very careful here. That's tight. Kind of watching the screen at the same time. All the connections for the antenna seems to be good. So maybe this is really what's out there. By the way, it is right now it's 7:06 a.m. here in Clearwater, Florida. I'm using, in case I didn't mention it before, my G5RV antenna, and I'm in the HF mode. Now, let me go to where is the preferences. Okay, preferences. One of the preferences is you can change this, and sorry, I just looked over at my computer and you can't see this because it's a white screen, but I'll just explain it to you. One of the options in this program is to change the sampling type, which, if you'll recall, with these dongles, like the RTL-SDR.com dongle, which they had a shorter name than that, if you want to listen to HF, you have to go direct Q sampling. So this program gives you that option So I can use this dongle either in the HF mode or the UHF mode by changing the sampling. So I had done that, and I did that, and I changed the sampling to direct, so it's working on HF. Several other features, options, and I'll tell you about when I do a review of the program. Today we're just experimenting with the setup. Alrighty. Again, and there's all these options here, down here, this side. You can direct tune by selecting the jump command, putting in a frequency, and tell it to set. And you're direct tuning now. I can turn the volume back up here manually on my. I'm surprised he doesn't have a volume control in the program. Maybe he does. Where's my button? Okay, that's the Spanish-speaking station. And you can just touch here and slide back and forth. Okay, I can't find WWV. I don't know why now I'm getting all this noise. All I did was move those cables. I'm afraid to move them again because they got that high current when I moved them. Let me do this. Let me turn it off. So I turned off the dongle theoretically. I'm going to take the tester out of the loop, and I'm going to plug the dongle directly into this adapter. Try to. Oops. Okay. So now we're going to hang, that's one thing I'm concerned about because this is relatively quite a bit of weight. I'm going to plug that in directly, and I'm going to try turning it on. And I still got a lot of noise. Maybe, let me turn the volume down. Down, Tom. There we go. Maybe conditions just changed. It was kind of strange that all this noise showed up when I moved things. Antenna connections seem to be tight. Let me see, let me go to preferences and thought there was no, I didn't. I was thinking gains. That's what I want. I'm going to gains, so you can do manual gain control or automatic. It's on automatic right now. I'm going to turn automatic on and off. Turn it off, and then I'm going to turn it back on and see if that cleans up anything. Okay? Nope. Still getting a lot of noise down here at around 5 megahertz. Let's jump up some. Let's jump up to 10 megahertz. Again, I'm not demonstrating the program. I'm just experimenting with my setup. Once we get this set up as good as I can get it, then we'll demonstrate in the program. Still a lot of noise. Not sure why I got all that noise that I didn't have, that I recall before. But it could be anything. Let me try going to VHF. I'm going to take, and I'm taking the antenna off. This connector is kind of being taxed here. Okay, I'm slowly, okay, now the antenna is off. The noise for the most part is gone, except for this little, oh, I know one thing it might be. Let me go back. Again, I'm just experimenting here, recording this for myself to go back and review. One thing I did is I widened, or I zoomed in on the spectrum. That might be why I'm seeing more noise, or what appears to be noise. So we're going to zoom back. Well, I thought I was going to. Oh, okay, I am zoomed out. I guess when I restarted the program, it zoomed back out. All right, we're still getting a bunch of noise. Don't understand that. Don't remember that being there before. So anyway, Let's go back and take this antenna off, and I'm going to hook up one of the antennas that come with these dongles, which is just a little short. It's about 12 inches long antenna, and of course it's not made for HF. And then we will go to preferences, and we'll change the sampling to direct sampling disabled, and then we'll go back. Now we're in, okay, that doesn't look right. Okay, let's go back and change preferences. Okay, I canceled it instead of enabling. So direct sampling, you can't see it, but direct sampling now is turned off. So we'll go back, and are we on? Oh no, we're now down at 10 megahertz. So I need to go up to like 93.3, I think. So we'll go jump, and we'll put in, and I apologize that you can't see a lot of this because of the contrast. 93.3 set. And there's, now we're getting a big bunch of signals. I'm in AM, I need to go to FM mode. And I have to be a little careful that I don't record a bunch of, okay, it's also, let me zoom in here. Bear with me. Okay, it's also decoding the data, the RDS data. So this says Tampa Bay #1 hits, music channel 93.3, and then it's got some other junk up at top, music. So it's working. It's decoding, good signals, working fine on FM. 93.3 is a strong station here in Tampa Bay area. See if I can turn up the volume just for a couple of seconds. Whoops, wrong direction.
Don't make her mad, just saying. Ever since the undie pictures hit the web, though, I haven't been able to put her down.
Okay, luckily they were talking, not playing music. Now, the one thing about, you really probably don't want to listen to FM stations on a tablet like this, because the audio to begin with on the tablet is not that great. And I've got it in a case which makes the audio kind of muffled, so ignore that. I think I got it working. So I'm going to continue to experiment with this off the line. Main thing I want to do is record getting it working. I don't know what that little burp was when I moved the cables and the current draw went up significantly to the point that the program recognized I didn't have high enough voltage to the device. That was kind of cool that it recognized that. As someone else suggested, I really need to find a way of providing power directly to the dongle and not just from the tablet, because it is probably marginal. It seems to be working. Again, I don't know what that little burp was when it wanted more power. Somehow maybe the dongle got into a higher frequency sample rate or something. I don't know. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please give me a thumbs up. I will be doing a full review of this program. This is, let me go back. This is the SDR Touch program. There is a demo version, which I talked about earlier, and you need the RTL-SDR driver for your dongles, and it works with a whole slew of different dongles. I might even try it with my RSP1, see how it works with that. That's it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.